I instantly had to step back from the situation and look at it, knowing that I was playing in the National Football League, and they get paid, on the defensive side of the ball, just like we get paid on the offensive side of the ball. And when you have defensive coordinators who spend the entire offseason planning to stop what you do best for that one day, they got 364 days to try to figure you out for that one day. And it's going to happen after you have a year of success. And, Lamar's going to have to get used to that for the next 7 to 8 years, regardless of what type of offense he's in. He's going to run into some turmoil, a level of difficulty, and it's up to him to figure it out. Go the other way. Come back to the sideline. Talk to your coach. Audible. Change the play. It's plenty of options that we have as quarterbacks. So I expect Lamar to learn from this. I expect them to talk about it internally and fix it.
I agree with you, Mike. And Skip and I discussed this yesterday, and I said the exact same thing. We've all been – let me ask you a question. How many times, Skip, you think in a game against Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry say, here's the run, they finna run it. What you think Derrick Henry here? A lot of times, I just want people to know, because Lamar Jackson is trying to overcomplicate this, and he wants people to think that we go into every Sunday with 135 brand new plays. We run the exact same plays, just out of different formations. That's all we do. Everything else is basically a lot of window dressing. We running Tiger far cross from solo right, and we running from double wing right. It was the same play. Shannon Sharp was just lining up in different formations. Skip, a lot of times, Mike, you know this. Players, defensive guys, as you mentioned, they study. Okay, he's sitting light. He about to pull. It's a run. He's sitting heavy. He digging in. It's a run. Okay. Oh, they got a little flower in here. Oh, it's a pass. Early in my career, Dan would tell me, because every time I come in the game, guess what we were doing? We were passing the ball. Every time I leave the game, they were running the ball. And Dan just pulled me aside. He said, Shannon, you're going to have to gain some weight, and you're going to have to learn how to block. I'm not saying you have to be Clarence K or Orson Mobley, but you're giving off tendencies when you're in and when you're out of the game. Well, here's the thing, Lamar. When you become more proficient, what do you think it's hard to game plan Patrick Mahomes for? Because he can throw it. If you become more proficient at throwing the football, then they can't just say, if we take Lamar Jackson's legs away from him, we can beat the Baltimore Ravens. Until you do that, Lamar, I'm telling you, teams are gearing up to stop your run. And until you find a way to fix that, because like Mike says, teams spend the entire offseason. Who has success? Oh, that's how you have success? They spend their entire offseason try to stop it. Trust me, I played with TD, and we ran the football, and they call that run. Okay, yeah, we're going to run it. Stop it.
Okay, so let me say that I appreciate the words from Michael Vick, because Michael has helped mentor Lamar Jackson, and I hope that Lamar is somehow watching or hears what Michael says to him. I would hope that they would have a conversation off camera, because those are words of wisdom. It was a bad look. It was wrong place, wrong time. And what bothered me the most about a Lamar that I remain a big fan of was the timing of the remarks. The Ravens aren't 2-6, they're 6-2. And let me ask you, what did we just watch on Thursday Night Football? We watched the Indianapolis Colts go to Tennessee and basically just take them apart in the second half. Beat the brakes off them. Thank you. What did we just see 5 days ago happen at Indianapolis? We saw Lamar Jackson take over the second half against that same team and that same defense. He took it over and ran them out of their own building. They won the second half. The Ravens did 17-0. Right. Lamar in the second half went 10 for 10, throwing the football for 119, and he ran it 9 times for 43 more yards and a touchdown. Right. It was the best half he's played all year, and in part it was because Greg Roman said, I give up. You do it. He let Lamar run fast break. He just let him call a bunch of, you have to relinquish the play calling to your quarterback. Go fast. No huddle. Just see if we can run them out of their building, and they pull that off. So then what would inspire Lamar then to go on the Rich Eisen show and say, They knew our plays. Well, it doesn't get you anywhere. Nothing. It does you no good because it comes off as a shot at Greg Roman.
And it comes up, Skip, is that because you haven't, the offense hasn't had the explosive plays they had last year, it comes off of you making excuses of why you personally hasn't been successful, right, Mike. And people are not going to let you run for $150 and throw for 300 every single week.
No doubt. Look, I can give you an example of the one time I made, an ill-advised comment. I think it was in 2002. We was 0-1, just coming off a loss against the Green Bay Packers, playing against the Chicago Bears at home. A game where I feel like I should be dominating the game. Ted Williams, Mike Brown, and those guys made the game extremely difficult. I think it was a lot of communication on their end, trash talk. They was putting themselves in good positions. I scrambled to the right, and I was on their sideline, and I don't want to name names. They was just like, take his knees out, take his knees out. And I come back to the sideline complaining. Post-game, I complain. It was the last thing that I wish I would have done. It's one of the comments that I regretted my entire career, and I vowed to never do that because it just seemed like I was crying and I was complaining. And that's not the position that you can take as a quarterback in the National Football League. You got to stand tall, you got to be the leader, and you got to take the bullets as they come. You got to take things as they come. So don't shy away from it. Deal with it, respect it, appreciate it. And this is why you get all the praise when things are going right. And when it's going wrong, you can't make excuses.
Mm. So, Michael, speaking of the Atlanta Vick, the Michael Vick experience with the Falcons, we've talked before about how after a while, you were so spectacular that you start feeling like you have to live up to the hype. You got to put on a show, not just win the game. You got to entertain those people who are flocking to your games and watching you on TV. I think Lamar is falling into the same trap where he's on the cover of Madden. He's the reigning MVP. I got to live up. I got to run for 100 or I've had a bad game.
Right.
Well, you don't. You just need to win, and everything will work out. Can you relate to that?
I agree. Well, I didn't have the luxury like Lamar to play 6 or 7 games my first year, my rookie season. I had a chance to sit back and watch everything develop and kind of put together a game plan on how I would attack my second year. Second year was flawless, and then going into my third year, I ended up getting injured. Now for Lamar, this is his third season. Expectations his rookie year, he met him. His second year, he went, superseded expectations. Mm-hmm. And now this year, year 3, a year in which I wasn't playing, but he is, things are going to get tougher. It's not going to get any easier moving forward. And I know he respects his offensive coordinator and Greg Roman. He has to respect what they've been able to build. He had an historic year last year. So, as you line up and if you don't continue to evolve, like Shannon said, things will become more recognizable. But it's up to y'all as a staff collectively, to change, what the offense looks like. So moving forward, I don't expect these comments to come out ever again. I expect the offense to look different. I expect Lamar to play better.
We look at Skip. You mentioned like Patrick Mahomes, and you said, oh, they put the quarterback in motion. Even though they put the quarterback in motion, all they did was run the over route.
No, it was just saying you're just disguising it. It's just a bell and a whistle.
It's the same play. They put him in a tight split, and they ran him on an over route. Tyreek Hill is catching nothing but 7 routes, and he's catching far crosses. Travis Kelce's going to run a 7 route. He's going to brace it cross. He's going to run the shallow. All they do is just stack the formation. They put them in different formation, run the exact same thing. It's up to you to execute that situation. Mm. But there's a guy that's playing behind you, Lamar. You need to talk to him. Ask the guy behind you, if you don't evolve, what happens to your career? There's a guy that's your backup. You remember what happened to him, Mike, his first year? He was the talk of the nation, swept the nation, rookie of the year, beat Andrew Luck. And then all of a sudden, what he wanted to become, he didn't. Now he's a backup. Lamar, become more proficient at throwing the football. Don't worry about what they call out the play. They're going to be right sometimes. Why you think you run the plays when you run them on first down? Or the plays that you run that they call on second down or third down? Because you have a good idea that the front they're going to be in and the coverage they're going to play. Why? Because you study tape. Man, they knew. It was like they knew. Of course. I watch tape. I know it down and distance. In this area of the field, you're going to play this coverage. I'm going to call a play accordingly. Well, Lamar, when you get in this formation on this area of the field and this down and distance, 80% of the time you do this. Okay, I'm going to play you to do that, and I'll react to something if you don't do it. That's just the way football works, Lamar. Don't overcomplicate this. Don't make the fans seem like, oh, man, this offense doesn't run its course. No. You just need throw outside the numbers occasionally. Stop throwing inside the numbers. Stop running so much on first down, and you'll see what happens.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna take this jacket off in the off season on Mondays and Fridays, and I'm gonna link up with Lamar. Because just because you have one good season don't mean you got it. Just because you have one bad